Good morning. It is Monday, January 19th. I hope you are doing well. I hope you had a great weekend. This morning, we are discussing the play, which is chapter 3 in your text. The play is the starting point. It is the written text. When you make the distinction between the written text and the production, that translation from the written text to the stage, we are talking about the difference basically between drama and theater. The study of drama is the study of the written text. When you introduce theater, it becomes more focused on the production, the translation of the written text into actual theater. The play is the blueprint. That's where we start. Now, reading a play is different. We know this. And your text makes a very interesting statement about reading plays. First, it says that you must approach the reading of a play imaginatively as well as perceptively. And I want to read just what the writers of the text said. First, people who read plays must accept that the ability to read imaginatively and perceptively is a basic skill that everyone needs. Because without this skill, much of human experience is lost, and intellectually, we suffer from historical and cultural amnesia. Wow. Reading with imagination and perception. That's how we read plays. The play is put together with dialogue and stage directions. Characters talk and move the story forward. Entrances, exits, movement, all of it is expressed through stage directions. The change of night to day, time, all of that is expressed through stage directions. We have to make an adjustment when we start reading a play, because if we are accustomed to reading a short story or a novel or any type of prose, we have to get used to reading stage directions. Now, playwrights write what they want to say, right? They will give characters the dialogue that they need to tell the story. But because we are reading perceptively and we are investing in the story, we understand that much is communicated through what is not said. Consider this. When during a conversation between two people, at some point there will be a pause. Someone says something that the other person receives, and it causes them to stop and think. That's communicated in stage directions. If you are reading a play and you read a line of dialogue, and immediately following that line of dialogue is another line of dialogue, which is preceded by something in parenthesis, italicized, pause, or beat. That means that during that little pause, something happens. Stage directions, for that reason, provide the reader with that information. Think about it. If the dialogue just kept moving forward, we might internally say, wow, I would take a pause after that line. That bit of dialogue was significant. It requires a beat. But if it's not in the text of the play, we might not do it. So stage directions, for that reason, are crucial. They add to the telling of the story, and the playwright puts them in there for that reason. Okay, I want to talk about the characteristics of effective dramatic action. Dramatic action, remember, Aristotle said theater is a representation of human beings in action. Action being the word that's most important there. So, characteristics of effective dramatic action. The first, the play is complete and self contained. Aristotle says that plays have a beginning, a middle, and an end. And within that, you have everything you need to know about the story. It is complete and self contained. A play is deliberately shaped. This is number two. Play is deliberately shaped. It is organized to get a response from the reader or the viewer or the audience. Things happen, and the playwright arranges those events in such a way to get a reaction from the viewer. Plays have variety in plot, in character, in action, in spectacle. Things have to become or have to have variety to keep us engaged in the story. Engaging and maintaining interest. This is also crucial. Plays can't move along on the same level. Things have to change. Action has to be heightened or subside. Things have to happen within the shape of the play to keep us engaged in it. Finally, the play has to be internally consistent. If the play starts off as a comedy, it has to remain a comedy throughout. If at some point during the play a statement about reality is made. Your text uses the example of Ionesco's The Bald Soprano. In The Bald Soprano, at some point, the clock on the wall rings 17 times. And then a character responds to that by saying, oh, it's 9 o'clock. Immediately, as soon as you hear that, as soon as we read it or the audience experiences it, we know that we're dealing with an altered state of reality. Things are not to be expected, or what happens is not necessarily what we expect. Now, before I move on, I have to talk a little bit about Aristotle. Because Aristotle at this point in the course is important. It's his contribution to theater is something that we all have to recognize and take note of. Aristotle lived from, let me get my glasses here, 384 BC to 322 BC. He died at the age of 62, 63. He was the son of a physician. He studied under Plato, the Greek philosopher. He became a tutor for Alexander the Great. He started his own school, the Lyceum. And what's most important is that he wrote Poetics, the Poetics, which is the oldest existing treatise written about theater. Within this treatise, within Poetics, he gives us what are known as the methods of organizing dramatic action. This is the blueprint. This is the guide map that we follow when we read, interpret, create theater. It's fascinating. I'll be back and we'll talk more about that in a minute.